are going long this time on festival news
from around
the world, but yet very close to your heart, very close to home, very close to Arizona. We have a diehard Arizona Cardinal fan, a 17-year season ticket holder.
That's a lot of losses.
A great friend of yours, John Ingram. How are you? Our first guest, too, on Festival News Around
I
the
know.
World.
This is our first one that we're bringing in. So.
All right. You actually got to go to a game. I can't wait to hear all this.
Yeah, so this is my brother-in-law, and a couple weeks ago we were talking about him in Festival News from around the world because the Cardinals were allowing about 1,200 fans into the game, and we talked about the whole process of being in the call line, being in that, and Johnny actually got to go to a game last. I'm not sure if he's happy that he got to go to that game, but you know.
How did that process work, John? How did you get picked? I know you didn't get picked. Take us back to the first one. The first when they allowed 1,200. You just said.
Yeah.
What happened there? Why didn't you get in? I mean, 17 years. That's a long time. That's a lot of dough, my friend. I would have picked you right out of the gate.
All right.
But take us back to that one, and then all the way up to what happened this weekend.
Yeah, so the first game that they allowed fans was the Seattle game, and there was 1,200 seats. So basically, you had 600 account holders that were going to be able to buy 2 seats each. And since the Cardinals have been here since 1988, then there were obviously more than 600 people that bought season tickets before I did. Originally got an you're a positive fan. It's okay, Jared.
I think you guys have been the season ticket holders back when they were at Sun Devil Stadium, so that's old school. So.
That's great. That's Emmett Smith's time too, probably. Yeah. Well, no, that was
pre-Emmett. Yeah, he used to move around to wherever the shade was at Sun Devil Stadium.
Right. That's part of the allure of it.
Yeah. So there were. I got an email from the Cardinals saying that they're going to allow 1,200 season ticket members into the game for Seattle. I got the email on the weekend, and they were doing the sales were going to happen. I think I had a time frame. I was supposed to log into my account on Wednesday before the game, and if 11 o'clock or whatever. And I got an email on Tuesday saying that the tickets were already sold out. So everybody
quick.
That was fast.
Yeah, so it was pretty quick. Well, found out after the fact that they were reselling those tickets for anywhere from $700 to $1,500 a seat.
And what were the face values on those?
Face value is like anywhere from $100 to $150.
Ooh. Were they selling them to all Seahawks fans?
Yeah. So we were talking about it. Even if there were 1,200 Seahawks fans, that's less than there would be at a normal Seahawks game at Cardinal Stadium. So we missed out. So then after that was successful. I guess they considered that a success with the COVID procedures and everything else. And then I got an email saying that the health organization raised it to $4,200 per game at the Dolphins and Bills game.
How nice of them.
Same process. They told me I would log in at 11 o'clock on Wednesday and have an opportunity. So this time they were selling both games at once.
Okay.
So it was 8,400 tickets available, 2 tickets each type of deal. And it was, again, in seniority. So when I got on, I was about an hour late getting on to my account manager. But when I got on, I was actually kind of surprised. But I don't know how many seats were available, but there was a lot to choose from on Wednesday. I think it was around noon that I got an opportunity to get it.
The people who went last or got tickets for the first game weren't involved in this process then, right?
They were at the back of line. So if it went through all the way through season tickets, then it would have gone back to those guys before they would open it up to anyone else.
That's actually a fairly diplomatic way to do it, and I'm surprised the Cardinals were able to pull off something so elegantly, such an elegant solution to the whole thing.
It is good. So you were able to buy two game tickets, 2 tickets, but 2. Like one, the Dolphin game and the one. No, you mean just 2 tickets?
I could only choose. I could have picked the Bills game or the Dolphins game, but yeah.
So you thought you'd win the Dolphins game, so you picked that one?
I honestly did.
That was a good game. It was a good game.
Yeah.
Didn't go the right way.
We had a conversation today about who it hurt worse, my loss with the Sun Devils.
That was terrible too. We're going to talk about that later.
Yeah, it was a bad. I think it has to be Johnny because he went and saw it. I just had to watch it.
It also would be me because we should have won, and Sun Devils don't necessarily. There was no expectations for them to beat USC. So
that's true.
That's true.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to know this because we experienced something about 2 weeks ago, which was a live event.
Right.
But you've been going for 17 years to the Arizona Cardinal football games, diehard fan. You haven't been gone. You haven't gone in a long time, right?
Right.
How did you feel when you initially walked in the door? What did that feeling? What was that like?
So I mean, it was odd because obviously the line getting in was spaced out.
Nobody was there.
It was funny because
75,000.
we were just as far back as normal, but it was because there was 6 feet in between everybody.
Right.
It actually, to some degree, it felt so. The Cardinals do every preseason they do a thing called red white scrimmage, which is it's basically Cardinal defense against Cardinal offense.
Right.
Yep, I've been to that.
It kind of felt a little bit like that, meaning it didn't have a game day atmosphere, but it had almost like a practice atmosphere as far as how it felt. Walking into the concourse, it was just it almost felt like we were there 3 hours too early because there just wasn't a lot of people walking around. It was like a graveyard, just empty.
So do you think it was louder when, Maddie's graduation we went there, right? Was there more sound there than there was for the stadium when you were in there? Crowd noise wise?
It was funny. No, yeah, probably crowd noise wise. It was weird because they actually did, like when you're watching the games, you hear the noise that they're pumping in.
Yeah.
The crowd noise that they were pumping into the game was almost more like a dull chatter.
Just a dull roar.
Not the noise. It wasn't appropriate for the moment in time. Like they didn't make it.
Oh no.
Happen. It was just a constant roar, like noise, and then every once in a while turn that off for an announcement, and then it felt really weird because all of a sudden it would just be like you could hear a pin drop. So it was,
did they have any concession stands open or beer guys, or how'd that work?
So in the stadium, in the concourse you have the outer ring and the inner ring.
Right.
All the portables were so none of the portables were open.
Right.
But on the outer ring, they had most of the concession stands were open, not necessarily selling what they normally would sell.
Just so a toned down menu.
Yeah, they had one that was converted into a liquor cocktail place. So instead of hamburgers and fries, all they had was just adult beverages. So yeah, a toned down menu, kind of like everything else for COVID. They still had stuff, but it just wasn't the same like full menu that they normally would have.
So you guys, what was the seating arrangement like? It looked weird when I watched the game. Were you guys all in like one row down the side, or like you see some of these games where just people are in all over the place, or then you see a Texas game and it just looks like a regular game, and then the Cardinals were in like 2 rows, or I don't know.
It was each section probably had 4 rows of 2 people,
right?
And it was every other row. So columns, I guess, would be the better.
Yeah,
so
that would be a better way to say it.
But each row it was 2 people, and then the next row was empty, and then the 2 people, and then they offset it so you weren't on the aisle, so you wouldn't have people walking by you.
Right.
And it was only the lower bowl that had ticket. There was no one in the upper decks. I'd guess, out of 30,000 capacity for the lower bowl, they only had 4,200 people.
Right.
So half the rows were completely empty, and the other half had a third of what would normally fit in that row, something like that.
I'm going to back us up a little bit.
Yeah.
Mask? Did you have to wear a mask the whole time?
Yeah, there was actually people getting kicked out for not wearing them.
Oh, really? Wow.
So, okay. I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
if I have to go to a game.
They were walking around making sure, so if people took their mask off, they were going over and telling them to put them back on.
How about temperature when you walked in? Was there cameras taking your temp, or did they wand you in the forehead or anything like that?
No.
Really?
I bet it was the cameras and you didn't know it.
Yeah.
There are cameras that are sensitive where they can, as the folks are walking through. Did you walk it through slowly, one at a time, probably into the door, possibly?
Just naturally.
Oh, we're losing you, Johnny.
There he is, Johnny. Pause.
The internet's getting all crappy. He was like, everybody's dumping on.
He was like, thermometer. That's interesting. You know, the face mask, you know, where I assumed you'd have to wear, you know, a face covering. But I don't know, you know.
They're going to take draft picks away from the Raiders and fine Chucky $500,000, then they're going to kick fans out of the stands.
Right. Well, in protocol.
And I'm okay with that. So Kyler Murray, real deal, not the real deal? What do you think?
He's the only part of the team that is the real deal.
Well, you got DeAndre. Come on. When he's not flipping off people on the freeway, he's catching passes, right?
So, yeah, but he made half the country happy. Wow.
Yeah, well, that's me.
So overall, did you like the experience going to the game? Was it awkward? What overall experience? Would you do it again?
In this setting and with all the COVID stuff, I'm happy saying I did it, but I wouldn't do it again.
You wouldn't do it again?
Yeah. No, once everything's back to normal and it's a real crowd setting, I would definitely do it again. But it was.
Nope.
That's right. But it didn't, you know. So that
sorry.
At least you did
it.
Right. At least you did it and you experienced it. Would you do it again? You know, like we talked a long time ago, right? A long time ago before even football was even remotely gonna start. And I'm like, I'm not going because as a player or even a fan, I love the crowd,
right?
And you were like, I don't care. I want to go see my whatever Sun Devils.
I want to see them play. I'm excited. I want to be in there. I want to go and catch it. And it's got to start somewhere. So it started with 750 of friends and family, 1,200. 4,200, 4,200, and it'll slowly go up again.
Do you think it'll get to like the 25% or the 20-some thousand? Is there any talks about that, you think?
They don't know what their plans are. I guess it's all COVID crisis gets worse or whatever.
Right.
Like it is right now, it's going up. So
who knows?
Hard to predict these days.
It is. One day it's okay. One day it's fine. All right, Johnny, thank you for coming in, buddy. We appreciate it.
Thanks. All right, take care.
Nice to meet you. Go Cards. That was great. Somebody that actually went to an NFL football game and experienced it all. We've been talking about that for months and months. We get him on for festival news around the world. Our first visitor, our first interview. That was great. Somebody really personal to you. But hey, that's how we get him.
That is. And, you know, we were talking about it. We were having a family get together and he said, "Oh, I'm going to the game." I'm like, "Fan festival news from around the world. I want to hear about it," because people haven't been able to go. Right. I want to know what it was like. Were they selling beer? Did you have to wear a mask?
Were they kicking people out? That was interesting.
I bet they have the thermometer checks with the pictures, and it's
you just don't know, right? The things that we have for Andy Country Fest, those are cameras that are set off to the side. They walk through at a slower pace through the through the canals or whatever you want to call it. They're grabbing your temperature.
Some old lady trained to work.
So that's also what it's been 2 weeks.
Right,
and
we went
to the live.
I survived.
Went to live music. The 250 to 300 people.
Yeah.
John Party, Jared and I were there, and my brother.
Yep.
We're good.
Yeah,
2 weeks.
It was fun. It was good being out with people.
I enjoyed it a lot. And what I can't believe it's already been 2 weeks.
I know, time just flies.
That flew by a ton.
It did fly by.
Go Cards!
If you're about to love what you're about to hear, that's our boys, the Quaker City Nighthawks. And you know what? Here's to you. Here's to me. You know the rest. And we are...